I've been trying to figure out what it's called when resellers unintentionally skip over desirable items when they don't realize that the item is good. And all I've been able to come up with is brand blindness. Yep, I diagnose you with brand blindness. Now, I'm sure that you don't mean to skip over things that could sell because who would? But you're costing yourself sales. And on top of it, you're picking up items that are going to become fossils because they are just going to end up sitting in your store. For instance, would you pick up this item if you came across it? This is called a Patagonia Retool Snap Tee Pullover, and there are 5,300 available and only 1,000 sold for a sell-through rate of around 18.9% within 90 days. Versus this item. This is a Chaps 3X button-up top in a women's, and this has a sell-through rate of around 64%. I bet you didn't see that coming, did you? I have been caught in that trap before too. You think an item will sell because it's a good brand, or you think an item won't sell because it's a bad brand. But the truth is that there are bolos and nolos in every brand. And sometimes brand just doesn't matter at all. Like this unbranded dress that I just sold for over $100. I used to think that it was really hard to find great items. I'd be looking for the bolos that I was learning on YouTube and that everybody else was finding, but I was rarely finding them. And I was wondering, how in the world am I ever going to meet my listing goals when I can't even find enough items to list? Sometimes, and let me know if you've done this before in the comments, but I would get an item because I thought, well, this probably will sell and I could probably just use keywords to get it to move and I need it to meet my numbers. We end up justifying picking up things even though they don't meet the metrics that we actually set in place for ourselves in order to meet our goals. And so instead of stepping towards our goals, we start stepping away from them. I just ended like hundreds of Anthropology, Free People, Athleta, and many more in my store because they've been sitting for too long. I had to get rid of my own brand blindness. Now sourcing has become much easier. You know how people aim for multiple revenue streams? Think of curing brand blindness as a way of opening up a new sourcing stream. The number one way to cure brand blindness is by simply looking at the data versus how you feel about the item, regardless of what anyone here on YouTube is telling you, and making sure that the data of that item actually lines up with the sell-through rate that you're trying to set for your own store. Here are 4 tips that I have for you on finding bolos in bad brands. Number 1, when you see an item that has lots of desirable factors, make sure to include all of those desirable factors in your search. When you're comping, make sure to either use the filter or get it in the actual search bar itself, because adding in those factors will dramatically change the sell-through rate of an item, and it will be the determination of, do I get the item or do I leave it behind? And unfortunately, when I finally did this, I found that I was actually putting back a ton of items that had really amazing sell-through rates simply because I didn't know how to search it. So if you're not seeing clean data, or in other words, items that look very, very similar to yours, if you're seeing anything outside of that showing up in your search, chances are that you don't have clean data. And you're going to need clean data in order to accurately determine whether it's a good item or not. So use factors, use the search, and make sure you drill down to what you actually have. For instance, I showed you that Chaps top earlier. I've been picking up Chaps tops like that forever, and they consistently sell between $20 and $25 for me. But a lot of people think that they're undesirable because when they search the item, they're not getting the same sell-through rate that I am. For instance, if you just look up a women's Chaps top, you're going to see an absolutely terrible sell-through rate. But if you include all of the factors in the one that you have, specifically if you filter to a size 3X, you're going to see the sell-through rate and ASP dramatically change. Number 2 is to do a deep dive on the 5 brands that you come across the most. I'm not talking bolo brands. I'm talking literally what are the 5 brands that you come across the most. For me, just off the top of my head, I come across a lot of Old Navy. I come across a lot of Under Armour. I come across a lot of J. Crew, a lot of Target brands. Whatever it is for you, do deep dive research on those brands regularly because like I said, there are nolos and bolos in every brand and you want to figure out the bolos. You can figure that out by filtering to a minimum sold price, go to the solds, and then start studying eliminating everything that's selling above that minimum price. You then want to make a list for yourself and then check back up on that list after you finish doing that and check the sell-through rates of all of those things. Make sure that they fit the guidelines that you have set for yourself and then add those to your sourcing. And because they're in bad brands, nobody else is looking for those. You're going to find them pretty frequently because it's a brand that is abundant in your area and nobody else is seeking after it. If you want to visually see how to conduct this search, I made this video here. You can watch that and learn exactly how to do it. Number 3 is to deep dive a style aesthetic because like I said, sometimes brand doesn't matter at all. And even if you're somebody who searches for brands and sell-through rates, style plays a big role on demand of the item. So quite literally, you could search Y2K or cottagecore on eBay. Go to the solds, start studying those the same way you did in step number 2. Which ones sell for the most and what factors do those all have in common? That's how you're going to learn what the customer is looking for in those aesthetics. And by the way, if you'd rather just have that information delivered to you, we do monthly trend reports in Reseller's Edge Pro. Number 4 is learn to focus on quality factors over brands. Which factors seem to increase value in almost any piece? If you notice that lots of things are starting to sell in your store and they all contain a similar or the same factor, that is a factor that you want to jot down, you want to research, and you're probably going to be thinking in your head, this is a factor that in this current season can increase the value of an item. Then when you go to comp anything that you find with that factor, you're going to want to include that factor in your search. Shift your focus to looking for those indicators of quality versus looking for brand. If you do these 4 things, you are certainly going to cure your brand blindness and it's going to make sourcing so much easier for you. You are going to start feeling super confident anytime you walk into any thrift store. And you're going to figure out that you've probably been passing on a lot of good stuff. And before I leave, here are 3 things that you could be looking for that actually have shockingly high sell-through rates. For instance, right now, if you just search men's corduroy pants on eBay, they actually have about a 50% sell-through rate in general, which is incredibly high for just a general search that doesn't include brand, size, or any other factor. Therefore, this factor stacking of men's corduroy pants are 3 factors that are probably really hot during this season. This is an Aerie shirt that has a 66% sell-through rate. And did you know that men's Under Armour sweatpants, when they're in a size extra large tall, have well over a 100% sell-through rate? Thank you so much for watching. If you want to hear more about undervalued bolos, learning to source bolos in bad brands, make sure to subscribe down below as I'll be doing more and more videos surrounding this topic. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!